The croaky dinner. Geeti's throat felt like she had swallowed broken glass mixed with sand. Each time she tried to clear it, a harsh rattling sound escaped. Nothing like her own voice. The metallic taste coating her tongue made even the simple act of swallowing painful. She gripped the edge of the wooden table, her knuckles white against the grain. After sneaking back from the barn, she had tiptoed across the hall, cleaned off the dust, and slipped into her chair just as the dinner bell chimed. But her throat betrayed every secret. Across from her, her grandfather sat with his back straight. His silver hair was shining like polished metal under the overhead light. Geeti had learned to recognize his measured breathing. It was like the sound of a man keeping tight control. Tonight, though, the usual quiet between them felt thicker and heavier than usual. She shifted in her chair, trying to swallow away the strange dryness in her throat. When she tried to clear it, the sound that emerged was rather rough and raspy. She took a sip of water, but it didn't help. Her voice remained hoarse and croaky. With each passing minute, the sourness in her throat seemed to intensify. The clink of her spoon against the soup bowl seemed thunderous. When she lifted it to her lips, the warm liquid felt like fire against her raw throat. "So," her grandfather's voice cut through the quiet like a blade. "What do you do all day?" The spoon slipped from Geeti's fingers, clattering against the ceramic. It was the first time he had asked her anything beyond lectures about punctuality and proper posture. The word came out as painful croak that made her wince. Her grandfather's deep voice sharpened, studying her face with an intensity of a military strategist. His fork paused halfway to his mouth. "Are you well?" The concern threading through his voice was so unexpected that Geeti's chest tightened. She opened her mouth again, but only a harsh whisper emerged. I'm fine." "That," he said slowly, setting down his fork with deliberate precision, "does not sound fine to me." His weathered hands pressed flat against the table, and for a moment Geeti saw them tremble slightly before he pulled them back. Heat flooded her cheeks. Maybe I talked too much today." The lie tasted bitter on her tongue. "Geeti," the single word carried the weight of a command. "I've heard enough lies in my lifetime to recognize another one." He turned towards the doorway where his sister hovered. "Bimla, send for Dr. Das now." "I'll call him after now." Now. His voice brooked no argument before he closes his clinic. Bimla disappeared immediately, her sari rustling with urgency. Privately, she felt a flutter of hope. Since Geeti's arrival, her brother had not shown such immediate concern. Maybe things were about to change. "This is it," Geeti thought miserably. "Now he'll know I ate sour grapes and send me away." She continued swallowing the soup in silence. Each swallow sent a needling pain down her throat. She was surely in trouble now. Dr. Das arrived within an hour. His thin black doctor's suitcase was carried with importance by a young assistant. He was a small, mostly bald man with kind eyes magnified by thick spectacles. He hummed gently as he entered. Something about him made Geeti feel better right away. "Colonel, how's that stubborn blood pressure of yours? Still refusing to take those tablets I prescribed?" His words tumbled out in rapid-fire succession as he crossed the hall. "Oh, stop fussing over me," the colonel replied with a dismissive wave. "It's my granddaughter, not me, who needs attention." Geeti managed a weak smile as the doctor turned to her. Dr. Das's eyebrows shot up. "Your granddaughter? You mean Subodh's little girl?" The colonel nodded, his jaw tightening slightly. Geeti small stool while Dr. Das settled into his cushioned chair, still humming a tune she didn't recognize. Up close, she could smell the familiar antiseptic scent of his bag, mixed with something sweet. Maybe he kept the peppermints in his pocket. Open your mouth, beta, he instructed gently, producing a wooden spatula and a small pencil torch. The examination was thorough, but kind, his movements practiced and sure. When he asked her to say ah, her voice cracked and faded like a broken radio. He sat back, tapping the spatula against his palm in a thoughtful rhythm. Tell me, what delicious things have you been eating today? She's been having only home-cooked meals, Dr. Das, Bimla interjected quickly, wriggling her hands. Dr. Das's eyes crinkled behind his spectacles as he looked directly at Geeti. There was something in his gaze, perhaps a glimmer of understanding, even amusement, that made her stomach flip. I'm sure she has, he said diplomatically. But I'd like to speak with my patient alone for a moment. The Colonel and Bimla exchanged glances before retreating, their footsteps fading down the hallway. Turn around and take a deep breath for me, Dr. Das said once they were alone, his voice dropping to a conversational whisper. Geeti felt the cold stethoscope against her back as she breathed deeply. Now face me. When she turned back, he was sketching something on a piece of paper. You know your father had the same exact problem when he was your age? Geeti's eyes widened. You knew, Papa? Oh, indeed I did, Dr. Das chuckled, adding details to his drawing. I've known him since he was smaller than you are now. And let me tell you a secret. He had a terrible weakness for tamarind pods. Imli couldn't resist those sour things, and every single time he tapped his pencil against the paper. Tonsillitis. What's tonsillitis? Dr. Das held up his completed sketch, a simple diagram of a throat with two round shapes on either side. Around them, he'd draw tiny stick figures yielding swords and shields. These are your tonsils. Think of them as brave little guards stationed at the gates of your body. When something irritating tries to get in through your mouth or nose, they puff up and send out their army of tiny soldiers to fight it off. Geeti leaned forward, fascinated despite her discomfort. But here's the thing about these guards, Dr. Das continued, his eyes twinkling. They're particularly sensitive to sour things. Your father learned this the hard way after his third bout of tonsillitis from those tamarind pods. He paused, giving her a meaningful look. I never did tell your grandfather about those pods. Doctor-patient confidentiality, you understand. The weight of his words settled between them. Geeti felt her shoulders relax slightly. So, he said gently, what sour treasure did you discover today? After a long moment, she whispered, grapes, very sour ones. From the old vine behind the old house? Ah, the wild ones, Dr. Das nodded knowingly. I thought as much. Those little green bullets of sourness have been tempering children around for decades. Your father probably sampled those very same vines. He patted her hand reassuringly. Don't worry, beta, I'll give you some medicine to help those brave little guards calm down. But you'll need to rest and avoid all sour fruit for about a week. A whole week? Geeti's voice cracked with dismay. I'm afraid so. You also have a slight fever that might climb higher tonight before it breaks. But in a week's time, you will be good as new. He paused thoughtfully. Perhaps your friends could visit you here instead of you going out to play? Geeti wasn't sure that would be possible, given her grandfather's strict rules about visitors. Let me call the colonel back, Dr. Das said, winking. Don't worry, the grapes remain our secret, just like the tamarind pods were your father's. When her grandfather returned, his thick brows were still drawn together with a worry that seemed to surprise even him. She'll be perfectly fine in a week's time, Dr. Das assured him, packing his instruments with the same methodical precision he had used to arrange them. Nothing serious to concern yourself with, though I'd suggest not letting your blood pressure rise unnecessarily over what is, after all, a very common childhood ailment. The colonel's eyes sharpened slightly, but Dr. Das continued smoothly. She might develop a higher fever tonight, but it will break by tomorrow evening. Nothing that rest and proper care won't cure. He snapped his medical bag, closed, and stood. The assistant, who had been quiet all this while, held it once more. She needs the medicines I've prescribed, plenty of fresh air, and he glanced meaningfully at Geeti, then back to the colonel. Perhaps some company of her own age. Laughter, I found, is excellent medicine for the young. Have some kheer before you go, Dr. Das, Bimla offered from the doorway, knowing of the doctor's weakness for sweets. Perhaps another day, he declined politely, though his eyes lingered wistfully on the mention of the dessert. I have another patient waiting, and the evening grows late. As the adults moved towards the door, discussing prescriptions and care instructions, Geeti remained in her chair, her mind already churning with possibilities and problems. How was she going to survive a whole week without adventure? How would she meet her friends? And most puzzling of all, why had her grandfather looked so genuinely worried about her? 1 week seemed impossibly long for Geeti, for whom each day was an opportunity for discovery. But perhaps she thought with a spark of her usual optimism. Being confined didn't have to mean being completely cut off from excitement. After all, mischief had always been her best medicine, and she wasn't ready to give that up prescription just yet. Something had shifted tonight. In her grandfather's concerned glances, in Dr. Das's gentle conspiracies, in the way the very air of the house seemed to hold its breath around her illness. Maybe this forced quiet would bring unexpected adventures of their own.